So Hollywood actor Michael B. Jordan from the Black Panther movie is being accused of cultural appropriation because he has launched his brand of rum called Jourvet rum, and some Trinidadians think that he should not do that because he's not Trinidadian or that is cultural appropriation. My position on this matter is that it is not cultural appropriation. First of all, cultural appropriation is when someone of an external culture uses a people's culture in a way that is offensive to the people, especially when, and in particular, if they acquire financial and economic gain as a result of their indulgence in the culture. Carnival is an African revolutionary celebration where after emancipation, we, through the Canbolay Festival, which eventually merged into the Carnival and the Jourvet traditions, that because of our liberation through emancipation, African people, through their festive spirit, engaged in dancing and the frolicking and mass and calypso music, African drumming, stick fighting, oral traditions, poetry. All of that is African. Michael B. Jordan is an African man from another part of the African diaspora where all of us were taken out of. And he now is indulging in part of a culture that you really need to be more mindful about where the real cultural appropriation is. First of all, you are the one who raised the argument on cultural appropriation, not me. But if this is an African art form from African culture as a result of African liberation, then how come in Trinidad all the whites, the Chinese, the Syrians, and the French Creoles are the ones who are making money off it? And what you should really be complaining about is the fact that the real African artists, the Calypsonians, the soca artists, the pan men, the true mass men, could barely afford to buy food during the middle of the year, many of them. Pan men not being paid. Calypsonians and soca artists having to drive taxi and sell food and apply for a check to survive. So here now, a brother from another mother coming out to the African continent, just like all of us within the last 400 years, is borrowing part of our culture. But it's like some of us feel so comfortable. Oh, well, if the Syrians aren't making all the money or the whites aren't making all the money, then something's wrong with that picture. No, beloved, think. According to the Central Statistical Office's statistics in Carnival in Trinidad, using 2017 as an example, within a period of 19 days, we received 37,000 tourists who spent $334 million during that period, which probably represents barely a quarter of the economics and finances that Carnival generates. So you're looking at well over $1.2 billion in money spent for Carnival. But you're going to tell me the pan men get a little $3,000, $4,000? One person in Calypso makes $1 million. One soca artist from the Monarch makes $1 million. And everyone else makes a few thousands. Where does 1,000 millions go? And if in your African liberation celebration in the Canbolay, which is reenacted twice a year on the Piccadilly Greens, and you have come from that heritage, legacy, and tradition, but the same offspring of the slave masters and the same former colonizers and oppressors are benefiting massively from that, and we are taking a position where because they're born on the same island as us, we can all celebrate together, but your own African brother from another country wants to participate in part of the culture. You say, no, he must stay out. The money must only be for the local whites. Well, that's ignorance, beloved. And so this cultural appropriation, not only has our culture been appropriated from us, but it has been raped and distorted and misused and abused by culture vultures. And I leave you with this thought, and be honest with yourself. In Trinidad and Tobago, and again, you're the one who started this conversation, not me. A lot of people love Chinese laundry, fine. But Chinese laundry is a Chinese man who became rich by playing African music to African people. I ask you honestly, can you imagine an African man becoming a DJ and getting rich off playing Chinese music to Chinese people? You know in your heart, in spite all of the false, bogus narratives and cliches about Trinidad and Tobago being one love here, every creed and race finds an equal place in this rainbow country, there's no racism here, you know that not only can an African man not make money from selling or playing Chinese music to Chinese people. An African man cannot become wealthy from peddling the culture of any other people. But every other race of people can use African culture, sell it right back to them, and they will support them and make them rich. So we welcome cultural appropriation from other races. But a brother from a foreign country, what are we going to say about the reggae music coming out to Jamaica? Should that be for the Jamaicans only? Look at how reggae has touched the world. What about the calypso coming out to Trinidad? When you travel up the islands, it's Trinidad music playing on the radios. Should that only be for Trinidad? What about all of the various expressions of the festivals, the Spice Mass of Grenada, or the Vincy Mass in St. Vincent, and the Crop Over in Barbados, and the heritage behind each of those festivals? Should they only be for the tiny few who were born on those pieces of rock? As we were all taken out of Africa and the slave ship passed, dropped us all off on different pieces of rock, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Antigua, Dominica, Grenada, and then now the slave ship is passing back to pick us back up, but we're saying, no, I'm not your family anymore. I'm now committed to this island here, but that's your family. And if we don't think like family in the diaspora, we will continue to be defeated by others who think like a family, because when they make their money off your African talent through Carnival, they ensure that they build their communities and support their people and circulate the wealth within their economic circle, while we are poor, hungry, ragged, naked, out of doors, deceived, oppressed, and exploited, thinking that we are defending Trinidad and Tobago by defending the brand Jourvet. No, you're only defending the 1%, their friends, their family members, and the politicians that they control. Think, black man and black woman, wake up and be conscious.